You're good to go.
Okay, guys, it's my very good honor to bring to you some insights about what can we do to dominate the international system design interview process. Um, First and foremost, I don't intend to exhaust all the topics, and I don't intend to spend too much time talking about technicalities. I'm just go through some points that I consider that are very important on the preparation, on your approach when you're going for a system design interview. I'll provide you with some references, some tips about how to prepare, which materials could you use, but what I'm willing to do is actually give you some directions and some uh, preferable approaches consider on what's in the core of interview on system design interview processes. Okay. So in my second slide, I'm gonna go through the magic of how can you dominate the system design interview process. And here's the magic formula. Just 3 steps: preparation, and after that you do some more preparation, and after the steps 1 and 2 you prepare even more. So what I'm trying to say is that practice can bring you the best of you. And even if you spend some time studying and doing some research and reviewing some concepts about system design, the most important tip that I can give you is the preparation. So you have to practice, you have to rehearse, you have to do what you should do during the interview beforehand. And it also holds true for the English part. You must think about what you're doing beforehand and create your responses, your phrases, the technical terms. You must spend a great amount of effort preparing for the English part and for the system design technical part. Okay, so what the main takeout that I can give you is this: prepare and prepare and prepare. And by that token, I would like to talk about something that I truly believe that most of us don't do, is to find what you can about the company or the interviewer that you will be dealing with. And here's the thing: most of the time when you are you go through the HR process, HR interview, the second step usually is something system design related or lead code challenge or something like that. At that moment, you receive an invite to meet some guys to talk about this, being it the system design or lead code. At that moment, you have access to the people you will be talking to. One thing that you should do is to get their names and search about them on LinkedIn, on wherever you can. What can you get from this? You can understand better what's the background of the interviewer. And after that, you will be able to prepare yourself specifically on the topics that interviewer are most has the most knowledge available, you know. So that would be a tip that I trust is very effective, considering that the interviewer will be talking with you about things that he knows. If you can grasp a sense about what's the formation, what's the background of the interviewer. You'll be well prepared to talk to him about things that he already know, you know? So yeah, that's one of the main things that I would like you to take with you. Preparation, preparation, preparation. What's the interview, the system design interview for? What is it for? It's trying to accomplish three main things: to assess your critical thinking, to showcase, to evaluate about what are your technical expertise, and last but not least, your communication skills. That's what we are here for at Giga. We're trying to enhance our communication, English communication skills. And that's actually one of the things they will be assessing you. So most of us feel some difficulty about handling the anxiety on being on a system design interview. But that anxiety actually comes from maybe some you're not so confident about what you're being assessing about. Maybe you're not sure that you will perform well. Maybe you think that the guy will somehow humiliate you. I don't know. You may have several motives to be anxious, but what I would like to talk to is that they want to hire you. They are there talking to you, and their main objective is to hire you. You know, they don't actually mind if you're tall, if you're tiny, if you're black, if you're white, if you're a woman. They don't mind. They actually care about assessing your skills and trying to have a sense that about if you are a good fit for the job. And they actually are willing to help you. Maybe some of you have gone through this, but if you ask for the guy to help you, he will help you, you know? So having that said, I believe that you can try to not get anxious, because you should realize that those guys that are interviewing you, they don't want to go through several interviews, you know? They have jobs to do. So they are actually trying to, as soon as possible, hire someone. And you should know that you are there to show them that you are the one. So try to realize that they are there to help you. They are not there to humiliate you or something like that. They are there to help you. So do your part, but go to the interview with a very calm posture and try to understand that they are there to help you. They want to hire you. Okay? One more thing. Feel free to interrupt me at any time, okay? If you have some doubts. Okay, guidelines for your preparation. I would consider those four main topics on your preparations. And the most important one comes first: practice. Just practice. Practice a lot. Try to repeat and repeat and rehearse what those guys will be asking you. That's like I said, that's the best advice that I can give. And of course, if you want to get prepared in a more solid way, you should revise and study the software and architectural concepts. And we have plenty of materials. I will be discussing with you later, but we have plenty materials available to do this. And here at Giga, we also have some pretty smart guys that can help you with all of these concepts. Again, communication, it's pretty important. And here I would like to emphasize about beyond the Giga classes and all the assessments that we discussed during the classes, it's important for you to be very judicious about your English. And you can do this in several ways. We'll be discussing that in more detail, but you can do this in several ways. You can record yourself talking, use those GPTs, or whatever, Gemini, ChatGPT. You can use them as a tutor to correct you, to give you more formal or interesting responses, so you can showcase your English skills. So don't be afraid to use everything that you possibly can. Try to communicate, to rehearse about your communication. And of course, you can use a real use case scenario. You have to use a real use case scenarios, because those guys will be asking you about this. And if you get in touch with some real case use scenarios, you'll be better prepared for the interviews. Okay, Ansel, go ahead.
What was the word that you used again? Judicious about your English?
Judicious.
Judicious.
Rigorous.
Okay, very good. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, any more doubts? Okay, let's go ahead. Like I said, I've given you some guidelines for technical preparation, but I also have some guidelines for English preparation. It's important for you to think beforehand about the question that you will be asked about. And when you do that, build up your own responses and memorize them. There's nothing wrong with it, guys. You can memorize them. You can repeat them until you are exhausted on repeating it. Repetition is the mother of perfection. You must repeat yourselves with your English responses for specific questions all the time. And I can't stress that enough. Repeat it. If you are at home office and sometimes you have to go to the bathroom, record your answers and go to the bathroom and listen to them in the bathroom. Use every minute that you have to repeat and rehearse your responses. There's nothing wrong with memorization. You can memorize it. And since we are at the LLM ages, we can use the LLM tools as a tutor. Let's say, for example, if you want to know if your response to some specific question is a proper one, what you should do, you can do it in several ways. One of them, using those tools, those AI tools, is to ask for the AI tool to put itself in an interviewer role. Ask for them to consider themselves as an interviewer, and asks it to make some questions that you might probably be asked on a system design interview. You can also provide PDFs, interesting approaches on some problems. And after providing it to the AI tool, you can ask them to put themselves in an interviewer role. Consider yourself as an interviewer for system design on, I don't know, data science or web development, or I don't know, you can be specific about it. And ask them to create some questions that a real interviewer would be asking from you. And you can also ask him to give you the answers. Or you can provide your answers and ask the AI tool to enhance them in a grammatically manner, you know? Use them as a tutor, and you will see that your performance will be improved a lot. Okay? Any questions? Okay, let's go ahead. Well, I'm gonna be starting a more technical approach on what we should be doing on a system design interview. Well, as you know, when you're building software, you have functional and non-functional requirements. One of the things that are the topics that are most asked on a system design interview are those that I just laid out for you here on the screen. Scalability, performance, resilience, and maintainability. If you check all the materials, all the materials that you can get about system design, you'll see that when your interviewer puts on the table some situation, what he wants to assess is your critical thinking and your choices about those four topics. One side note, the resilience one is actually handled on the material as reliability. If you see at most of the material, including the Giga Pro's ebook about it, you see that we used to call reliability. But actually, I've been seeing on my late interviews that the guys are using the term resilience. And what is exactly resilience? It's something beautiful or smarter or something better than reliability. When you're talking about reliability, you're talking about the system can handle problems and continue to respond in a proper fashion. Okay, but resilience goes one step further and tries to recover when you're going through some problems. You know, I'm just using resilience because I've been seeing on the latest interviews that those guys are doing a shift from reliability to resilience, and resilience being something greater or smarter than reliability. Okay, but as I said, those are the four most important things that you should be caring for when you're studying. So, scalability. We'll be asked to, what if I have 1 million users? What if I have 100,000 users? What if I have some seasonality about the usage of my system? How can you handle it? And you actually will be talking about load balancing, using horizontal scalability versus vertical scalability. And we will be asked to talk about those choices, okay? Performance, as always, we always need to that our systems to be performant, but it's important for you to study about what are the choices that make our systems quicker and faster. And actually, which frameworks or libraries or programming approaches can we be using on that map? Okay. And the last one, maintainability. It also it actually refers to how can I modify and maintain and enhance my software, my system in the most favorable way with the last effort. Okay, so your choices on how do you build up your system, how do you modularize it, how do you choose patterns or approaches on your system, it really matters when you're talking about maintainability. Okay, again, those are the four most important ones. Of course, there are other topics about non-functional requirements, but it's important for you to realize that those four are the most important ones. They are the most asked ones. Okay. And I brought to you, and I don't intend to have a exhaustive list because there are actually other real use case scenarios, but it's my understanding that those three are the most asked, most wanted use case scenarios. That doesn't mean that there aren't any others. There are actually, but I would say that those three are the most important, the most wanted ones. I leave them here for you to reference them, study them, but don't make no mistake. There are others that can be asked. Okay. Any doubts so far? Okay, let's go ahead. So up until this moment, we were discussing some general guidelines about how can you handle your interview or your system design interview. But now I would like to go to a more structured approach, more step-by-step process. How would you handle your system design interview in a step-by-step approach? Okay, let's go. Step one, understand the problem. That it goes without saying, okay? You must understand the problem, and don't be afraid to ask for clarification, possibly all the time. And for one, actually, it is what the guys are looking to see in you. Someone that is interested and detail-oriented developer, you know? Actually, a detail-oriented professional. They want to know if you're can be, like I said, judicious about analyzing the problem and understanding the problem. Because if you don't understand the problem, how can you possibly be find some great solutions for it? Okay. And like I said, ask clarifying questions to understand the requirements and constraints. Okay. Identify functional and non-functional requirements. Don't be afraid to ask. Ask about them all the time. And while you do that, try to document what are your findings about the scenario that you're working with, and try to document them so it can be clear. Actually, for the most part, we are doing remote interviews. Okay. So it's important for you and for your interviewer that you document them on the screen or on the tool that you might be using at the moment. For example, we're here in Giga, we use the Excalibur. But whatever is the tool, it's important for you to make the requirements, the functional and non-functional requirements clear in order to it's clarified for all of the entities participating on the interview, and there are no doubts about it. Okay. Step two, once you understand the requirements, start with a higher level system design. Don't go into details just from the start, and don't try to optimize your solution from the start. Okay. actually, if you do that, you will spend a lot of time in some details. And usually the system design interview has a time limit, and you'll be actually spending most of the time in one tiny aspect, and you won't be able to finish the problem, okay? So first things you should do just after understanding the problem is to draw a higher level understanding, higher level design of the problem, higher levels design of the solution, sorry. Okay? Don't go into too much details and don't try to find a better solution from the start, okay? So define system goals and prioritize features, sketch a higher level architecture diagram, okay? The clients, the main servers, the database, the entities, if you were using microservices, monolith, the client's a mobile, is a web application, just sketch a higher level diagram so everyone can be aligned on the solution, okay? Of course, you can highlight the key components, considering the scenario that you're handling. You can highlight the key components so you make it very clear that you will be focusing on some specific solution for a specific problem. Okay? Thus far, any doubts?
I have one doubt about the high level solution. I believe it, and when I write more detail about the problem, when I draw a solution, draw a lot of options, but the focus in main problem, I don't draw more. You know, for example, I need right level design, but this design solve this main focus in this problem. No, a lot of options in different scenarios. Do you know?
I got it. Maybe you're overthinking it because
Yeah,
when you're presented with a problem during an interview, you don't actually know the solution from the start. You know, you're
yeah,
just thinking about it. You don't actually know from that moment. That's one of the many reasons why you should start with a higher level design. In that fashion, you can think about it. And after you think about it, you can provide the specific solution that you trust is the right one. Don't overthink it. Don't try to list all the possible solutions. Okay? So,
okay,
for example, if we're here, you present me a scenario, and I'm starting to draw the higher level solution. Just go through the higher level structures. You have a server here, just one. You don't have to think, should I be using horizontal scale, vertically scale, one server, two servers, 10 servers? No, don't think about that. You just think about an entity. You need a server here. At that moment, you don't go into details. You just know that you need something here. Do you need a database? Okay, draw the database here. Do you need a web client here? Okay, draw a web client. And that's it. Okay?
perfect, perfect.
At that moment, when you start to see the whole picture, you start to think about it, and you see, maybe I should use a load balancer here. Maybe just one server will suffice. Or no, actually, I'm gonna be needing to load balancer here. I'm gonna be needing several servers. I'm gonna be needing a container so I can escalate my servers again. You know,
Yeah.
if you try to jump into some details, like let me list all the possible solutions. Wrong. That's wrong. It will be, let's say, polluting your diagram and make things confusing. Okay. Go to the easiest possible solution you can think of and draw it on the screen. After that, you can improve it. That's what we're seeing on the next slides, but go for the easiest possible solution. And that's a funny thing, because I was interviewed one of those days, and the guy asked me, what can you do if you find yourself in a situation? And he described a situation that I immediately think of a pattern, a strategy pattern, okay? And I was thinking about that, and I started to talk and describe the pattern. The solution the guy was waiting from me was the simplest one. He actually was expecting from me to say that I could handle this with a hash map. And I was overthinking it. I was thinking that the solution involved several entities, several approaches, and and something, the simplest one is the right solution. That's one of the other reasons why you should start simple. Very, very simple, very, very simple. And as the interview goes along, you can think of some more detailed approach. And you keep asking from your interviewer, but do you think that we should improve the servers since you're asking scalability from me, what do you think about if we put some servers on a containerized model so we can escalate them on a spike of demand, Start very, 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 very simple. And you must train yourself on doing it, okay? Okay,
Great.
let's go ahead since we're short of time. Step 3. After you build up the high-level system design, you can go into, Step 3, you can go into details. And here, Hugo, that's where you can go into details, but you don't have to go into details on every element on your diagram. You just go into details on the important elements on your diagram. If you have clients, servers, database, and you're asked to provide some reliability, some resilience, let's say, you can start talking about database replication. And then you go into details on the database part, okay? When you're finished on that part, you can go to another part if it's demanded from you, okay? So here's the moment where you can get into details, but not that much and not for all the elements, okay? So you can break down your components, you can design specific details about scalability, resilience, and maintainability, as we spoke earlier. And address trade-offs. You always have to address your trade-offs. Since let's say, I'm gonna try to use a monolith here. Okay, I'm gonna be using more and more CPU resource, storage resource. I'm gonna have some troubles on maintainability, but I won't have I won't have administration problems on building up all the configurations for each microservice that I would be putting out if I choose to do microservices instead of monolith, So you have to consider your trade-offs on your analysis. Step 4, scalability considerations. Since we said that we have one of the most important things that we'll be asking is, how can I scale it? So you can discuss, like I said, discuss horizontal versus vertical scalability, incorporate your load balancing and caching mechanisms, and identify potential bottlenecks and propose mitigation strategies. Did you notice that I, again, started with a higher level and left the details for the end, for later? Okay, that's one thing that I should do in every interview. Start from the big picture and drill down to the details later. Don't start with the details, okay? Step 5, resilience, and fault tolerance. Like I said, resilience is the new most used term that relates to reliability, okay? Actually, some new frameworks are being put out to handle the resilient issue. And I trust that you should be handling and studying and handling it in your interviewers as soon as possible, okay? What am I talking when I mention resilience and fault tolerance? Design redundancy and critical components, for example, database replicas, implement failover mechanisms for high availability, and the old backup for disaster recovery, okay? Just a side note, I'm using the approach that the Giga Pro's ebook uses, okay? It's not the only one, it's not maybe the best, but it's one a hell of approach that I consider for a system design interview. So when you read the book, you identify the steps that I'm following here. Step 6, performance optimization. Here you can talk about performance. Again, don't start talking about performance from the very start. Just draw your high-level diagram, your high-level conceptual diagram, and after that, you can talk about other things. Here on performance optimization, you can talk about caching strategies like CDN, cache databases like Redis, okay? Sorry. One of the things that you can discuss when you're talking about relational database or even non-relational databases, you can talk about how to optimize the queries that you're doing if it relates to the scenario that you're talking about. You can consider optimizing database queries, implementing indexes. And one of the things that are, again, asked a lot on system design interviews, you must leverage asynchronousness for the task that you're talking about. Here and now, you can ask your interviewer will ask you about, but what if the API is the API servers are off? If they are shut down, what can you do? Here's when the asynchronous solutions come in handy. And I'm talking about messaging. If you want to talk about tools, we're talking about Kafka, RabbitMQ. At that moment, you can bring those concepts up from your sleeve and try to address those performance or even availability problems, okay? Try to approach them using some asynchronous solution. And the most used one nowadays is messaging, okay? Okay, let's go ahead. You'll be asked, from what I've seen in the latest interviews, they don't actually ask a lot about security. Or saying this in another manner, they don't go too much deep on security or data protection issues. Not they will not be asking you, they will, but usually they don't go too deep on that. But it's good to be prepared. It's good to study some of the main topics on security, how to use security communication, HTTPS, encryption, how to implement authentication and authorization, and the most used nowadays are OAuth 2 and OpenID Connect. And now and then they will be asking you about privacy and compliance requirements. It's important to be prepared, although they don't go too deep on this, okay? Okay, now you are approaching the end of your speech. And now you have, if you're maybe you are very short of time on the time available for your interview, or maybe not. Maybe you have some time that you can go ahead and improve what you just created. And at the end of your presentation, you can indulge yourself with some more precise or more sophisticated solutions for something. So again, don't try to use sophisticated or optimized or detailed solutions from the start. Let them appear along your presentation and allow yourself some time at the end, if you have any, to talk about some enhancement that could be done. Since you're at the end of a presentation, we will not be spending too much time detailing that enhancements that you could make. But it's important for you to at least mention them if you have some time, okay? And you can use your the end of your presentation to validate what you just presented. You can ask for the interviewer if what he thinks, if he has some doubts, and in a sense try to validate what you just presented to them. I left here a small breakdown about how much time would you spend on your presentation. 5 minutes to requirements debates, okay? Don't spend too much time. Of course, you can, along your presentation, try to clarify some points, always asking what he's thinking, making clear about some specific points when you go into details, okay? So you can have some support on your decisions, but as a framework, I would say that just spend 5 times on your requirements debate. About 5 minutes, sorry. About 10 minutes on a higher level diagram, okay? Don't spend too much time on this. Don't let it go along beyond 10 minutes. It's more than enough. You can spend another 10 minutes on component design. When you start to go deep into details, you can allow yourself to spend 10 minutes on it. 5 minutes on API design and interfaces if you need to talk about some specific details about, let's say, an endpoint on a microservice architecture, or how would you be handling the data, how the endpoint receives the data and stuff like that. You can spend about 5 times discussing those details. 5 minutes more when you talk about scalability, fault tolerance, maintenance, and resilience. You can spend 5 minutes discussing what would you be doing to address those topics, those issues on your solution. And 5 more minutes on optimizations. You see that I'm allowing myself more time on higher level diagram and component design than I'm spending on optimizations or details about it, okay? That's an important thing to do. Okay, we are reaching the end of our presentation, and I'd just like to present you with some, not exactly guidelines, but some principles that you should be using on your preparation. Be judicious about your preparation. Be rigorous. Be very, I can't stress that enough. Focus exactly on what you need to know about that specific position. Of course, as a whole, you can study the main principles of system design and something related to security, something that is related to everything that we are doing here. But when you're applying for a specific position, try to tailor your preparation just for that specific position, okay? That will save you some time, and it will allow you to focus on what will be asked. And again, if you're able to research something about the company, or about who are your interviewers, you can grab some information about what's the most important thing that you should be talking about when you're doing your presentation, okay? That's it. And here I leave the references. Those are, I will leave you with 3 references that I believe will suffice for your preparation. Of course, you can put your hands on every material that you can possibly have, but those 2 books, Mastering System Design and Software Engineering by Giga Pros and System Design Interview by this guy, Alex Shu, are complete materials. I trust you don't be needing anything beyond this, unless you need to go deep on some specific details, but as a whole, those 2 books will suffice. And that code card is actually a YouTube channel. It has a drawback. The guy is Indian, so his accent is very, not very, but somewhat difficult to understand. But he has some pretty good material there. And I think it's, as a reference, that's worth mentioning. That's it, my friends. Can I have some doubts, disbeliefs?
Does anybody have any questions for Denard so far? Hugo?
Yes, I have one questions. I think, for example, I have one interview tomorrow. Yes,
Okay.
I I am prepared for this interview. I put follow these steps. What will you say for us? I think if I put in my draw one bottleneck about which I know how to solve this problem. For example, I want focus in this case, show my recruiter asking me about this because this topic have knowledge about this. And put here propose this bottleneck for my way easy to solve this because I have knowledge about this topic.
Okay.
What do you think about it?
I think that you, as now and always, you should conduct the interview to the extent that you could possibly do. You should drive the interview into the directions where your
Yes.
knowledge rests.
Yes.
You know, try as much as you can to get away from the technical points that you are not familiar with. Sometimes you won't be able to. You'll be asked about specifically about something that you don't know. And if you get to that point, you should be, let's say, use some language that softens up your unfamiliarity about the topic, you know?
Yeah.
So let's try to say something like, I'm not very familiar with this one, or I worked with this tech a long time ago. I'm a little rusty. I don't remember exactly. But if you have some idea on your mind, you can propose something, some general idea, some general solution. Don't go deep into that. And try to present your knowledge in the most favorable light saying that you may not be too familiar with this, but you're an eager learner, you're a dedicated professional, you can learn it in no time, okay?
Great,
But
great.
yes, you're right. If you can conduct the interview into some direction that is interesting for you, do it. Okay? Try to get away from the questions that you don't want to be asked about.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Denard.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Again, actually not again. I believe I didn't say this in this presentation, but this is a selling process. When you're being interviewed, you're selling yourself, okay? And as you are the seller of a product that is you, that is your skills, you must always present them in the most favorable way, you know? Having that said, there's nothing wrong with trying to present your knowledge in the most favorable light, try to soften your weaknesses, you know? There's nothing wrong with it. You should do it.
Perfect. Thank you, Denard. Congratulations on your presentation.
Very good. Does anybody else have any questions for Denard before we wrap up? Um, I do want to say though that after practicing system design with a couple of students for a couple months now, um, a huge mistake that I see on a lot of the students are that they are focusing way too much on the high-end design of the problem
Yeah.
rather than going for the specifics, which I know that those students all know their technologies. They all know what type of systems are going into that. But I feel like once they have to present it or once they have to draw in front of everyone, they just kind of freeze, which is completely natural. It's something that you do have to work on when it comes to anxiety management and also the how to organize your speech in English. But the high-end design is mostly there just to give an overview of what you're gonna be doing specifically, right? Just wanted to point that out.
And like I said, sometimes they are looking for the simplest solution. So you don't have to go all the way to the highest sophisticated level of system design.
Mhm.
Actually, something that is pretty simple will suffice.
Yes. Does anybody have any other questions? See that Marcel came to light. He turned his camera on. Marcel, any insights?
No, no, today I'm just a listener. Thank you for the
Okay,
opportunity,
you're just
but
a
not
listener.
today.
All right, very good. All right, it's 1:01 p.m. I think we should be good to wrap up. Denard, can
Or
you
just,
just let me get your LinkedIn while you wrap up, and I'm gonna send it on the chat in
okay.
case somebody doesn't have it.
Thank you for this opportunity, guys. It's always good to talk to you about those things. And I hope I have given you some contribution on our pursuit on an international job.
Thank you, Denard. That was incredible. Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
very important. You have um, a process to do something without freestyle, and you already know what we will follow step by step, the time box, and what is interested to say first and evolve in the process of the interview. And this is a strategy, and the process of interview it's like a game. So if you know the rules, it's more easy to pass. So thank for your tips.
Thank you, guys.
Very good, very good. Everybody, I just sent Denard's LinkedIn on the chat in case some of you guys don't have it. Anderson, your background is freaking me out since you came onto the call. That I just saw this man behind you.
Mr.
I was like, oh
Anderson.
God. It's the federal police right behind him. He's after him. All right, everybody, let's wrap up with a picture on the count of 3. 1, 2. Wait, I think Daveson just turned on or he disappeared. There we go. Let's try it. Oh, he's speaking from heavens. All right. 1, 2. There we go. Perfect, everybody. Denard, once again, thank you so much. I will be making the recording available on Glide in case anybody needs to access it later. And that's pretty much it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
You
Have a
guys,
good
bye-bye.
Friday.
Bye-bye.
Right?
Bye-bye.
Take care.